What's going on, everybody? This is Dwayne, owner of Dad Media, and you are here on your very first episode of Developing Apex Brands. So I just started a clothing company, and I'm asking myself, should I take a warehouse supplier route or should I take the drop shipping route? Now, while both of these situations have their pros and their cons, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into both of these situations to see which method better suits your situation. So let's start with drop shipping. Drop shipping is a method of shipping where you can provide a design to a warehouse, which then will take your design, print that on specific garments for you, and then ship those garments to your clients. Now, with drop shipping, there are definitely pros and there are definitely cons that come with it. Let's start with the pros. The pros of drop shipping: one, there's no inventory. So you don't have to have a warehouse. You don't have to spend a lot of money on upkeep or overhead for brick or mortar. So that's one less expense that you'll have with an actual drop ship business. The second pro to drop shipping is that there's no upfront inventory costs. That means that you can take your money and spend it on things that can really help you in the immediate future, such as your marketing dollars. The third pro to the drop shipping method is that the warehouse handles the shipping and the returns. Therefore, that gives you the ability to focus and allocate your time more on acquisition as opposed to retention. The fourth pro to the drop shipping method is that you get to solely focus on your design. You don't have to worry about any of the back end, as we've already stated. They're gonna take care of your shipping, they're gonna take care of your returns, they're gonna take care of your warehousing. The only thing that you really have to focus on is the design process and the marketing of your products. And the fifth pro of the drop shipping method is if you have a website like Teespring or Wix or even a Shopify account, what that will allow for you to do is to integrate your site directly with your third-party drop shipper. So that way, when a customer comes to your site, they'll be able to seamlessly go from purchase to ship with you being the middleman and not having to do any legwork. Now, while the drop shipping method does have a lot of pros, there are definitely also some cons that come with the drop shipping method. Now, in my opinion, the biggest con when it comes to the dropshipping method is that you don't have any control over the actual inventory that's available to you. When you do the dropshipping method, you're working with warehouses. And when it comes to these warehouses, they have their own inventory and profit margins that they have to meet for their own personal business. So because of that, they can only provide to you certain garments that fit their model. Therefore, you have to be confined to what they're providing to you. Another con to the dropshipping method is that you're going to receive smaller profit margins. These warehouses do have to maintain a certain profit margin for their inventory, so therefore they're going to be selling to you at a higher price than, let's say, a warehouse would be selling it to you going through an actual wholesale. And the last con of the dropshipping model is that your business is solely dependent on another business. Whenever you create a business, you want to be able to have self-sufficiency and to be able to self-maintain and contain yourself. When you're going through a dropshipping company, if anything happens to that company and they go underwater and are no longer able to sustain your business, you're going to have to find another supplier. So it's best to have multiple suppliers and also multiple dropshippers so that if somebody does go underwater, you're not caught with your pants down. So now that we've done the pros and cons of the dropshipping method, let's go through the pros and cons of the warehouse supplier method to see which situation better fits your needs. Now, obviously, a wholesale warehouse supplier has their pros and cons as well. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper right now into the pros to give you a little bit more insight into this method as well. Now, when you're dealing with a wholesale warehouse supplier, this is typically going to be a warehouse that's going to be supplying you inventory at the lowest prices available for retailers. So you're going to be essentially buying garments at a wholesale value. Now, one of the pros with the wholesale warehouse supply method is that you have a large access to a lot of different types of garments. As opposed to the drop shipping method where they get to pick and determine which garments you get to use, essentially when you're picking a wholesale warehouse supplier, you get to choose from all of the inventory that they have at bare bones pricing. Pro 2 for wholesale warehousing suppliers, again, you get very cheap pricing. As opposed to if you were to go through a drop shipper, maybe a t-shirt, even from Gildan, may cost you $8, $9. If you go to a wholesale warehouse supplier, that same Gildan tee that might have cost you $8, $9 may only cost you $3.50 or $4. So essentially, you've already cut your expenses in half so that now when you do get a return on your actual garment, you're receiving a larger profit margin. And pro number 3, obviously because we're in the business of making money, I can't overstate this enough. You're gonna get larger profit margins. Whereas if you were to go through a drop shipper, you might be able to get maybe a 35 to about 50% profit margin. But if you're going through a wholesale warehouse supplier, those profit margins are gonna double anywhere between 80 all the way up to about 150% on whatever you spent on that garment. And the 4th pro with the wholesale warehousing supply method is that you're gonna have a larger access to customized garments. When you're going through the, again, drop shipping method, they're gonna have specific garments that you can have. And a lot of times they're gonna be middle of the road garments or items that are gonna appeal to the largest common denominator of people. When you have a specialty brand, you're gonna be marketing to a niche brand or a niche group of people. So therefore, you want to be able to highly customize your garments so that your niche is more likely to purchase your brand. Now, one of the larger cons with the wholesale warehouse supply chain method is that you're going to have to take on all of the back-end processes that come with that. You're going to have to take care of the shipping. You're gonna have to take care of the returns. You're gonna have to take care of the sewing. You're gonna have to take care of the printing. You're gonna have to take care of the sourcing of the garments. Anything that's associated with your business that typically will be handled by a drop shipper, you're gonna have to take that on by yourself. Con number 2 for using the wholesale warehouse supply method is that you're gonna have to spend some money up front. Now, typically when you're doing drop shipping, again, the only thing that you're really gonna need is creative prowess. You're gonna create a design, you're gonna submit that to the warehouse supplier, put that on your website, and they're gonna take care of all of the back-end processes. When you're actually working with a wholesale supplier, you're gonna have to purchase your garments up front, so therefore you will be able to keep them in inventory and ship them as needed to your customers. Now, while you will be receiving a larger profit margin, you are gonna have to spend at least a little bit of money up front so that you can have access to that larger profit margin. And the third con of the wholesale warehouse supply method is that you're gonna have to incur any losses that you take in the process of creating your garments. Now, when you're dealing with a drop shipper, even when you're dealing with warehouse and in-house printing, there's gonna be losses. People are gonna misprint shirts, people are gonna misplace inventory, and you're not gonna be able to either figure out where it is or you're not gonna be able to salvage any of the misprints that you've made. When you're working with a drop shipper, that is their expense that they're gonna have to worry about, because the agreement between you and them is that you provide designs, you provide money for those designs, and then they ship. When you're dealing with in-house inventory, if you do make a mistake, you're gonna have to incur that charge. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We've gone through both methods. We've gone through the drop shipping method, and we've also gone through the wholesale warehouse supply method. Now again, while both of these methods do have pros and they have cons, you need to be asking yourself, in my specific situation, which one is going to better suit my business model? Me personally, I used to be a drop shipper. Now I like to have things in-house. So again, take the time to evaluate your business and figure out which model best suits your situation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's episode of Developing Apex Brands, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and turn on that bell for notifications. My name is Dwayne, and I'll see you guys next week.